Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. This is the iGold Advisor channel. It is December 4th, 2023, and gold has just hit a new record all-time high. We have never seen gold prices this high in the history of planet Earth as expressed in US dollars. And of course, the US dollar-denominated gold is the most important around the world because the dollar is still the world's reserve currency. So, this is a record high. Gold has just broken out. This is being recorded on Monday morning. Gold has already closed above 2,100, far eclipsing the previous all-time high. It looks like it's consolidating now above the previous all-time high. And this is all systems go. This is the breakout that we've been waiting for almost 4 years. This is the time where if you don't have the proper amount of precious metals exposure, you do not have too much more time to go before this wave really gets underway. So we're going to update the look at gold. If you did not have a chance to watch last week's video, make sure to watch that one as well, where we give the targets for gold. We will update it today. And then I want to tell you about one of the opportunities that I see in the gold market right now, which is specifically in some of the gold mining companies. And specifically, I'm going to do something that I do not do here very often, which is to give away completely for free some of the information that goes out to our paid premium subscribers. So you're going to get that for free right now in this video. And specifically what I'm going to do is talk about one of our gold mining companies that we are investing in here. The name is BRAVADA Gold Corp, and the tickers you can see right here. In Canada, it's BVA, and in the United States, it's BGAVF. Now, for full disclosure, BRAVADA is not paying me 1 single cent. They are not paying me anything to mention them here. That is not my business model. I do not take fees. I do not take kickbacks from any of the companies or any of the bullion dealerships. You know that by now. My business model is different from most analysts that you'll see out there in that all I do is speak about the investments that I'm making. And these are some of the investments that our premium subscribers are making as well. So you watch the research here, you see what's happening with gold breaking out to new all-time highs, and then you decide for yourself if you would like to join us in this investment. All right, let's get into the research. Very briefly, please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when these videos come out. And guys, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button. It just helps the algorithms on YouTube. Last but not least, our Twitter or X feed is at iGlobalGold. Sometimes when I don't have a chance to post a video on a certain week, I will put quicker updates over here on Twitter or X. All right, let's get into the research on gold and then specifically looking at the gold miners. Here's our legal disclaimer for one moment. Remember, I do not take any compensation at all from these companies, any of the bullion dealerships. No, nothing. That's not my business model. So we're looking here at gold having made this new all-time high. A week ago on the video, we were talking about how it was just a fraction away. It was knocking on the door to new all-time highs. That has been set here heading into Monday morning. We are officially in uncharted territory. The way to think about this is anyone who has ever bought gold in the history of humankind has made a profit. So no one has lost money on buying gold. And so therefore, no one really has an incentive to sell at this point. And so, this chart can really start moving to the upside here. Last week, we talked about how the official target is 2,535. Assuming that this breakout holds here, of course, it has to stay above 2,074, the previous all-time high. Assuming that happens, we have this target of 2,535. And this should be happening within the next 6 to 18 months. Now, remember, sometimes these breakouts are a little bit of a process. Sometimes you can have an initial breakout, a little bit of a pullback, some consolidation, and then the real move starts. So let's not get too worried here about the little fluctuations over the next several days. We have a higher target which is 22% higher for physical gold. Okay, that's nice, right? This is our official target. I'm not going anything past our official target until we get to this point and we reassess what the market is actually doing. 22% on physical gold. That's nice, right? But let's be honest. Unless you have millions of dollars invested in physical gold alone, a 22% gain is really not going to change your life. And what I believe, based on the evidence that we see in the charts, is that the opportunity in front of us right now over the next 18 months is the potential to change your life, to have radical new possibilities for what you choose to do, for how you work, for who you work for. Maybe you don't work for anyone after this move. I think the move that is setting up here has the potential to be the move that grants people a lot of their freedom for the rest of their lives. And remember, you only need to be right one time in the markets to change your life forever. So, as I said, a 22% profit is most likely not going to change most people's lives. So, even though I'm bullish on gold here for the breakout, we need to find a way to leverage this type of gain. And here's where I think the gold miners, if we are right about gold moving higher by 22%, here's where the gold miners should provide that opportunity. Look down below, exact same time scale going back from 2006 through the present. Here we're looking at the senior gold miners. This is a basket of about 25 of the largest gold miners in the world. Most of these gold miners are producing gold already. Some of them are producing 500,000 ounces or 1 million ounces per year. And the point that I want to draw to your attention here is that the gold miners would still need to rise by 105% just to get back to the similar all-time high that gold has made. Can you see this? Gold is above its 2011 peak. The gold miners would need to rise by 105%. So the gold miners have been lagging here. However, if you understand the big picture about gold and that it should be continuing higher toward this target, then the opportunity is to take your money and move down the food chain, to play the investments that have the opportunity to catch up, not to necessarily chase buying physical gold here now that it's above $2,100. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, you start to talk about 105% gain, which is doubling your money. That starts to get more interesting. But I would still say, unless you have quite a significant amount of money invested, even doubling your money is not going to change most people's lives over the next couple of years. If you're investing $5,000 or $10,000 or $50,000 into this range, doubling that is going to be nice. You're going to have like an extra paycheck or a few extra paychecks, but you're still going to have to work the same job. You're still going to have to live in the same place. You're still not going to be able to quit and travel when you want to travel and work when you want to work and do the things with your time that you want to do. So we have to do better. The idea here is that the gold miners have this opportunity to catch up to the price of gold. And now we have to say, well, has this ever happened before? Has there been a period like this where the gold miners have lagged and then gold broke out to a new all-time high and the miners followed, and so therefore the opportunity to profit massively was actually not in the physical metal, but was actually in the miners? So here I want to go back and show you that indeed this has happened before, and I want to show you how dramatic this was. This was the most powerful bull market in gold trading history. This was even more powerful than the one that we are living through now, because gold rose from $35 per ounce in the year 1971 up to $850 in the year 1980. And the point that I want to draw to your attention here, so we have physical gold on top, and then here we have Anglo Gold Limited. This is a large cap miner, just like the large cap miners that you looked at a moment ago in the GDX. And we're fortunate because we have data going back to the 1970s for this one. There's not that many, but there's just a handful. So for example, can you notice here how from the 1974 peak, when gold peaked just below $200 per ounce, it rose from 35 to 200. Gold then consolidated for 4 years. Do you see this? Very similar to how gold has just consolidated for 40 years underneath 2000. And then finally, when was this? Late 1978. Look down here. Late 1978, gold finally broke out to a new all-time high. Aha. But what happened to the large cap gold miners? At this exact same moment in time, the large cap gold miners were down 70% from the related peak when gold was at 200. So gold was sideways and breaking out, for crying out loud, to a new all-time high, and these miners were down 70%. Very similar to what we've seen here in gold over the last 4 years, where the miners have been lagging. And the point that I'm trying to make here is watch what happened after gold broke out in 1978 and then continued higher toward $850 per ounce. Look at the return. Once the gold mining investors realized that they were wrong, they had gotten frustrated. I often say that the worst backdrop for gold is when it moves sideways, because gold mining investors get frustrated and they just sell for no good reason. Look what happened after they realized that they were wrong when gold broke out. The catch-up gain was 500% in a year and a half. Okay. So we talked about how gold itself is expected to rise by 22% to the new target. We talked about the catch-up move in the GDX. This is a historical look to show you that, yes, this has happened before. Let's bring it back to the present. Let's remember that the GDX is down almost the exact same percentage as that Anglo Gold Limited was back in the 1970s. And indeed, it would need to rise 105% to catch up to that all-time high. Okay, so back to the point, 105%. Again, this would be nice, but I do not believe this is going to grant you freedom for the rest of your life. And if you really look at what is setting up here for the most unloved, the most underlooked gold miners have the potential to rise far in excess of that GDX. We looked at how in the 1970s, Anglo Gold rose 500%. Now look at the potential for BRAVADA Gold Corp. Once again, this is a company that I am investing in personally, and our premium subscribers who have paid for this exact research are also investing in, and I simply want to give you the opportunity to decide for yourself if you want to join us. So the things to understand about BRAVADA Gold Corp is that this is a dual gold and silver mining company. It is located in one of the most safe political jurisdictions in the world, Nevada, United States. The nickname for Nevada, by the way, is the Silver State because silver has such a long history of mining in Nevada. Very friendly political jurisdiction. And look at this. This is their primary deposit, Wind Mountain. It's called the Wind Mountain Deposit. And this was a past producing mine. Can you see this? This mine produced 300,000 ounces of gold back in the 1980s and 1990s. And then they shut it down in the late 90s because gold prices had fallen so far. And so BRAVADA bought this gold mine, and you can see the work that's already been done here. So this is not a hypothetical gold mine. This is a mine that there is already, in addition to the 300,000 ounces that have been produced over the life of this mine, there is an additional 1.2 million ounces in the gold equivalent category here for Wind Mountain. So over 1 million ounces. And when we say gold equivalent, we're taking a combination of gold and silver, and we're converting the value of silver to gold. So you can define it however you want. You could put it separately, gold and silver, or you can convert everything into gold equivalent. The point is that the net sum comes to 1.2 million ounces in the measured, indicated, and inferred categories of resources. That is what the company is officially allowed to publish by the exchange. That is still sitting here in this Wind Mountain open pit. The company also has 9 other projects that they are working on, One of these other projects has just been joined by a larger company called Endeavor Silver. And with Endeavor Silver, this company, Endeavor, has promised to spend $4.5 million to develop one of these other projects called the Baxter Project. In addition, they're going to give BRAVADA $500,000 in cash over the course of the next 5 years. So the crazy thing is that the amount that Endeavor is spending on the Baxter Project is actually greater than the entire market cap of BRAVADA right now, let alone the fact that this Baxter Project is one of the secondary projects. It is not this 1.2 million ounces. It is not Wind Mountain. Wind Mountain is 100% owned by BRAVADA. With gold prices now above $2,000 and preparing to move higher, the net present value for the entirety of the Wind Mountain deposit is in excess of $200 million. Yet the company is trading for a market cap of $5 million right now. Guys, in a healthy market, this company should be trading for anywhere between 50 to 100 million of market cap valuation based on this gold in the ground, let alone the 9 other projects that they have. Okay, so there's a steep discount here. And by the way, this company already has traded between 100% and 780% higher with gold prices at or below the current level back from 2016 to 2020. So remember how we looked at that chart of AngloGold Limited back from the 1970s? That lagged. It was down 70% even as gold was breaking out. The same thing here has happened with companies like BRAVADA. That's why it traded so much higher in the past, and that's why our opportunity is still ahead of us. The key takeaway is that gold is breaking out and BRAVADA should play catch up. This is the opportunity here. The opportunity is not in physical gold. I mean, I think everyone should have some physical gold, whether it's a few ounces, depending on your situation, whether it's 10 or 20 or 100 ounces, depending on how much discretionary capital you have. I think you should have some physical gold as an insurance policy, right? In case the currency goes to zero. But you are not going to make your fortune in physical gold. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. It is these companies that should play catch up, such as BRAVADA, which is where this opportunity is. Let me show you how this looks on the BRAVADA chart. This is what ultimately matters. The stock is trading right now at 6.5 cents on the Canadian venture. Remember, this is not just a fly-by-night company. I know the management personally. I have met them. I speak with them on the phone at regular intervals. This is a company with 1.2 million ounces of gold in the overall resource category, still sitting in the ground. It's a past producer. So currently trading down here. Remember how we looked at the fact that all those gold miners were lagging because the worst possible backdrop is for when gold has moved sideways, as it has for the last 4 years? Well, gold is now breaking out. And if BRAVADA is going to play catch up, similar to how AngloGold did in the 1970s, here are the potentials. Just to get back to the most recent peak here in 2023, BRAVADA would need to rise by 38%. Okay, that's something, right? Still probably not going to change many people's lives. But back here in 2020, BRAVADA traded up at 25 cents per share. So from 6.5 cents, if this gets back to this level at 25 cents, which by the way, gold prices were exactly the same back here as they are today, this would have to rise by 285%. I think this is extremely feasible. So here you're starting to get into some more interesting gains. If you have a 285% gain, you can start to take a look at your possibilities in life and say, hey, what do I actually want to do with my time? How do I want to spend my money? Who do I want to donate money to? All these types of things. Then if we were to get back up here at 40 cents, look, this would represent a 515% return. You think this is impossible? Remember back to the example from the 1970s. AngloGold rose 500% just after, in the last year and a half, after gold broke out. It was that undervalued. So basically, BRAVADA is in the same position to get back to its former peak that AngloGold was in 1978. This type of thing happens again and again and again. And here is the opportunity for BRAVADA. Once again, this is a company that I own shares in right now because I think it's going to do something like this. Okay. If you are with me this far, remembering that each of these peaks occurred at or below current gold prices, and gold is now breaking to the upside above 2,100, I want to show you how you can take this one step further. You see the potential there for BRAVADA. Now, let's say you are a higher net worth investor, and you're saying, I would like to invest in a company like this, but I would like to invest at least $7,000 US. I want to take a higher position in this. Or maybe you want to invest $20,000 US or $50,000 US. You cannot do it. You should not do it by buying all of those shares in the open market because there's not enough liquidity. You're going to drive the price higher just by trying to buy, and the price has already nearly doubled over the last week. And so if you're a higher net worth investor, I want to tell you there is a way that you can achieve returns that are even greater than the returns that we just looked at as far as potentials. Since you will be devoting more money to this company, they will reward you in a way that they do not reward the open market investors who are just buying the shares. Now, as I said, I think the shares are going to do very well. We just looked at that potential. But if you can invest $7,000 US, which is roughly equivalent to 10,000 Canadian, roughly 6,000 British pounds, in that range, investing in BRAVADA by a private placement will get you much better returns, and I want to show you how much better. So remember, they've got the gold. They actually have 14.7 plus another 10 million ounces of silver. Remember, I told you when you add this all up, it comes to 1.2 million ounces of gold equivalent. This is not a hypothetical company. This is gold that is already in the ground. Remember, it's a past producing gold mine. Remember, they have those 9 other projects. But what I really want to draw to your attention here is this, down below here. So if you can commit that minimum, 7,000 US or 10,000 Canadian, you have the opportunity, even though the stock is trading at 6.5 cents in the open market, you have the opportunity to buy those exact same shares, get ready for this, for 3.5 cents. I am not joking. Nearly half the current market price. You can buy for 3.5 cents if you do it by this private placement. So what that means is that because you are buying at 3.5 and the company is currently trading at 6.5, you nearly are doubling your money immediately off the bat simply for committing that minimum amount to this investment. You cannot do this if you are buying the shares in the open market. You do not get the opportunity to buy at 3.5 cents anymore. The stock is currently trading at 6.5, and the way that gold is moving here, I think this stock could trade at 7, 8, 9, 10 cents later this week. It's severely undervalued. The key with this private placement is that we are locked in. I have negotiated this deal with BRAVADA management by speaking with them on the phone, by meeting with them in person. And we have negotiated this deal to buy shares at 3.5 cents compared to 6.5 in the open market. The other thing that you get if you buy by the private placement is you get these warrants. And these warrants, you receive a full warrant that is good for 3 years at 5 cents per share. And so what it means is this warrant is already in the money. This is already in the profit by 30%. Do you see this? Because the exercise price is 5 cents and the stock is currently trading at 6.5 cents. So when you add up the 30% gain on the warrants that you receive off the bat with the almost doubling that you get in the shares alone, you start off here with 115% gain right off the bat. I'm not joking about this. This is how the math works when you invest by private placement and you get the shares at a discount and then you get the warrants in addition for free. Are there catches? There's no real catches. I just want to tell you the conditions. Remember, you have to invest the minimum $10,000 Canadian, which is about 7,000 US. So unfortunately, if you're not at this point yet in your career, I would encourage you to look at buying shares. If you agree with my research here that gold is going to move higher and that BRAVADA is severely undervalued, I would encourage you to buy shares in the open market if this fits your risk profile. However, if you can afford the minimum, 10,000 Canadian, or in other words, 7,000 US, this is the best way for you to do it due to these factors right in here. Remember, there is a 4-month hold period for the shares. I don't necessarily see this as a negative because in those 4 months, I mean, gold could be trading at 2,100, 2,200, 2,300. So it's quite possible that this thesis just plays out in the 4 months. Things can move lower or higher, but holding the investment, I mean, we would plan to hold it this long anyway. So just remember, this is the required hold period for these private placements. Other than that, you're getting the exact same shares at the nearly half price as the open market, plus the free warrant, which is already 30% in the money. Now, if you would like to participate in this with us here, this is going to happen very quickly. We literally have less than a week to get all of the investors into this and all of the paperwork in, and then for you to get your bank wire directly to BRAVADA Gold, which is how you initiate the placement. I do not touch any of your funds directly. I act as the liaison. I negotiate these deals with the management, but the actual transaction will be you and BRAVADA together. I'm here to help along the way, and I can provide any resources that you need to cover all of the transactions. The deadline to register, you must be a member of our group called Elite Private Placements to participate in this private placement. There is no more room. BRAVADA and I have negotiated that I have the remaining room of this placement. There's only $435,000 left in this placement. It's going to go quickly. There's going to be extremely high demand with this, so we only have room for perhaps another handful of investors to get into this. So if this fits you, if you are a higher net worth investor, you must register for our program, Elite Private Placements, by Tuesday, December 5th, and then your wire transfer is due that Friday, December 8th, coming up. If for any reason you can't get your wire in by Friday, they will cancel your participation. You'll get your money back, of course, from BRAVADA, but if for some reason your wire doesn't get in till Monday or Tuesday of next week, you will not be able to participate. So make sure before you sign up that you can fill out the paperwork by Tuesday and get your wire transfer in by Friday. And if you can, you have a 115% gain right off the bat with BRAVADA. Let's compare how the gains look. We just looked at this a few moments ago in the open market. We talked about how if BRAVADA just gets back to its former peaks, it would be either 38%, 285%, or 515% higher. But that considers buying the shares at 6.5 cents with no warrant given to you for free, no warrants whatsoever. Remember, if you buy in the private placement, you are buying the shares at half that price, almost half that price, and you get the free 3-year warrant at 5 cents. So it totally changes the reward potential. Look, if BRAVADA just goes from 6.5 cents back up to 9 cents, where it was just a few months ago, this is going to be a 237% gain if you buy it by private placement because of the difference in the purchase price compared to 38%. I mean, look at the difference, right? 38% open market, 237% for just a slight move in the price here in the private placement. I'm not joking about this. Look at some of the other peaks here. This peak is going to get you over 1,000% due to the power of the warrants and the cheaper shares. And this peak, instead of 515%, are you ready for this? 1,743%. Please remember, all of these peaks occurred at or below current gold prices. We looked at how that mining sector stock did in the 1970s, how it was lagging. It was down 70%, even as gold broke out. And then what? After gold broke out, it caught up. It caught up to all the former peaks over the following year and a half. Here you have this opportunity to not get only what the normal percentage gains would be, but if you participate with us by private placement, this is where you have the possibility of altering the course of your life for the sake of freedom, for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, for those that you want to help, for all the things that you want to do. This is where you have that possibility. I don't make guarantees. There are no guarantees in anything related to the investment world, except, what do they say? Death and taxes. Those are the only guarantees. But this is the best possibility that I could possibly imagine when you look at reward potential versus risk potential for these companies that have just been overlooked by the market. So BRAVADA Gold Corp is the company that I think has the chance to play catch up. If you would like to join us in that private placement, remember the deadline to register for our service called Elite's Private Placements is this Tuesday, December 5th. You can sign up right on the website. The link is right in the description below. That's what gets you the highest leverage. If you would like to join our other open market purchases that we are making, as well as receiving weekly videos just like you're seeing now, but covering not only gold, but also physical silver, also the U.S. stock market, the currency markets, the commodity markets, with flash updates going right to your inbox each week, the service for you is Precious Metals Intelligence Plus. This will give you access to all of our buy and sell signals for the open market. Remember, if you sign up for Elite, you get a free subscription to this in addition to those warrants and the cheaper shares. You can also work with me one-on-one by consultation. If you would like to sit down and discuss your situation, I'd be happy to dedicate half an hour or an hour to you. If you are new to the precious metals market and all of this has been like, whoa, this is just too much all at once, listen, I totally understand. It's not a negative. Everyone starts from somewhere. Everyone bought their first ounce of gold at some point in their lives. For me, it was 15 years ago, and this is how my investment career has taken me into types of deals like this. But everyone starts somewhere, and if you'd like to speak from an independent, researched perspective to someone who is not going to try to sell you anything, but simply try to point you in the right direction to make sure you're not getting taken advantage of from some of the bullion dealerships out there, please book a consultation. So we see this opportunity. Gold is breaking out. This is a new all-time high, never before seen in the history of humankind. Wait till the financial media starts talking about this. Wait till you start seeing gold prices on the cover of Time magazine or the New York Times, right? That hasn't happened yet. So I don't think we're at the peak yet. There can be a lot of volatility here over the next few weeks, but this looks like the breakout that we've been waiting for. And then if you think about it, okay, so if gold goes to 2,500 or even 3,000, is that going to be the move that grants you the freedom that you want for the rest of your life? You only need to be right once to change your life forever. And it appears that with companies such as BRAVADA that are so undervalued for the over 1 million ounces of gold that they have in the ground, the market has just been so overlooking them. I've seen this kind of thing happen before where the market overlooks them for months and months and months, and then all of a sudden these things shoot higher over the course of just 6 to 12 months. This is the best opportunity you could ask for. Think about it. I look forward to having you join us. And I will see you for the next update coming soon.